Hi, my name is Pamela Gray Daniel. I'm a social unity and oneness practitioner, and I also consult organizations and individuals about allyship and DEI. So today's question is, why are we pursuing and promoting DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion? I like to ask individuals and I like to ask leaders this very question. Why are you interested in promoting DEI in your organization? Or why are you an advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion? Um, so there's no right or wrong answer to this per se. However, I think when we understand the spirit behind DEI, we will get a greater awareness of how to achieve diversity, equity, and inclusion, or equality. Um, so some folks say because we want to promote fairness. We understand that things in the world have not been fair in certain communities. And so we want to set the record straight and we want to stand for what is right. And that's a really good answer. Some folks aren't really sure, but they feel like it's the right thing to do. And I think that's the right thing to do too. However, the reason why I think that it's the right thing to do, and I think the part that folks often miss is that diversity, first of all, happens naturally in our world. It happens naturally with flowers and trees and individuals, even groups of people who are of the same culture. Uh, there is great diversity in so many different ways. It could be um, you know, in the color of their skin, their eye color, their hair color, how their family is made up, who they have in their family, how they were raised. So there's all of these dimensions of diversity that happen naturally in our world. So we really don't need to promote diversity, diversity just happens. However, what has happened in our past is that diversity or differences have been seen as a divergent from the safety of social norms, right? And so we've created these social norms that say, this is our standard. We know that there are all these different groups of people out here, and that's great. But this is our standard, or this is what the majority kind of fit in this category. Because the majority fit in this category, we're going to promote this as the standard to measure up to. And so what that does is it squelches diversity. It creates exclusivity and it marginalizes or moves people who don't fit this standard into pockets and corners of society where their voices are not heard, their needs are not met, and it creates a lot of problems in our world. Why does it create problems? Well, we are all here in this experience together. We are all here in all of our diversity for a reason. And that reason is because we are here to build a world that is fair and just, that works for everyone, that is able to meet challenges that arise because everyone in the experience has a piece of the puzzle to offer in the problem solving of the world's challenges. So understand that when we create a group of people who serve as a standard, and they're all very similar, we are missing out on the different ways of being, the different thoughts, the different uh, outlooks and perspectives that appear in our world, and we're not able to address them effectively because the standard or the majority is the only group that's really valued in trying to solve these problems. And so what happens is it seems as if we are um, separated into different communities, and certain communities thrive and other communities don't. And it seems like that's okay, right? But actually, our world is the community. We don't live in a vacuum. Our communities don't live in a vacuum. And so while this community that is considered to be the standard may seem to be thriving, it's actually not, because it's a part of a larger community that is not thriving. And the things that are happening in these other pockets around the world, around our community, around our planet affect this big group that seems to be thriving. It affects them in different ways. And so what happens is they find these problems and like, this is a problem in our world and how do we solve it? And so they try from their limited perspective of the world, they try to solve these problems, but they only have answers that are very similar. And what happens is they keep doing the same things, or maybe just, shift and pivot just a little bit, but what happens is these problems don't go away. And so then what happens is they say, these people out here are the problem. These people out here are the problem. And so we need to do something about them. And so it becomes an us versus them situation, in a situation where it's all about all of us. And so this is why inclusion is very important. Inclusion means that everybody is valued with the same weight. That means no matter what your job is, no matter what your educational level is, no matter what your trade is, no matter what color your skin, no matter your sexual orientation, no matter your gender, everyone, no matter your age, everyone has an intricate piece to add to this puzzle, or else we wouldn't be here in this experience, in this time together. So, inclusion is very important because it allows us to hear different perspectives, and we get to address our world as a world and not just as a we, not just as a them and us. And so this is why inclusion is important. Inclusion is essential to us actually achieving equality. It's actually essential into us achieving equity, fair and just society. And so we must really focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, not just because it's the right thing to do, not just because, there was a wrong done and we need to make it right. It's because it's how we reach our highest potential. It's how your business reaches its highest potential. It's how you as an individual reach your highest potential. Because the more that you incorporate the view and perspective of others, you are multiplying your intellect. You are multiplying what you know in this world. And so, what this time requires from us right now is, yes, for us to be equitable, to be inclusive, to really look at the ways in which we have pushed others away because they don't fit our social standard, and welcome them in equally, with an equal voice, not just the seat at the table, but a voice. Matter of fact, the table needs to go. The table is only but so big, right? The table, welcoming them to the table still says we have control of the table. But uh, getting rid of the table altogether and saying, we are here in this experience together, and we understand that there's things that we learn from one another that can help us propel our world, our society into a higher way of being, into greater abundance for all of us when we take care of all of us. And we can't do that without all of us. So, this is the spirit behind diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is setting right what has been wronged in the past. It is the right thing to do. It is not a political statement. It is a way of being that gives us our best and brightest chance to creating a world that is full of opportunity and experiences that enrich all of us. And so, this is why we must focus on creating opportunities, being inclusive, releasing our social standards, and accepting everyone as they appear, as they present in this life experience.